Well, aloha, ladies and gentlemen. Aloha means hello. It means goodbye. It means what a hell of a time we had covering this show.
Yes, we
Little
did.
known third meaning of aloha. I was all set to cover this one. I was like, this is going to be easy because it's almost all singles matches tonight. And there's a battle royal, and those are annoying to cover. But you can say person eliminated by person. And then stuff happened. So whatever, you half-ass them a little, but then in a major traffic jam on the way home, which is ironic because today I was interviewed. I was on the nightly news also while I was stuck in traffic. It was when I was on, although I've seen the story now,
How about that?
um, and the story was partially about traffic, and then I ran into traffic. You know what? I'm going to link you people to my story. You can watch my green line story at some point. Um, and so I call Nate. I'm like,
Whoops.
can you do the live? And he says yes. And then he
Yep.
says, oh no,
I
it's not actually.
call him about 20 minutes later, and I'm like, wait a minute, I guess I can't because the show was not actually live on Netflix because it was a taped show, and I watch it on Netflix because I ain't paying for any other streaming services if I don't have to. And yeah, it took about like at least 20 minutes or so for the show actually the taping to actually show up on Netflix for me. So I had to watch wrestling elsewhere. And if you know, you know. Had to watch wrestling elsewhere for a little bit, and that stream wasn't working. Finally, it came up. But yes, so we both had a bit of a hell of a time trying to watch this show tonight and cover it,
I
for
finally
that
got
matter.
Dave. I finally got David Miller to cover the live. And then, with about 10 minutes left in the show, he realized for some reason it was not actually posting. So the problems were even worse than
Oh,
you
geez, I
thought.
didn't even know that.
Um,
Go
and when
figure.
I got home, I remembered I was supposed to pick up my daughter from a thing, which I just totally forgot because I was in this traffic jam for an hour. Nate, I want to die, but instead, let's talk about wrestling, the main event. I actually saw this. So the first half, I saw it all, kind of. Very distracted first hour. As part of it, I was just listening to it in the car. Um, but the second half of this, I mostly saw. Let's start with the battle royal. Here they are in order of elimination. Carmen Petrovich, Ariana Grace, Victoria Crawford, Lei Ying Lee, Ren slipped. That was a bummer. I don't know if she was supposed to go out yet or not. She probably was going to go out, but it was going to be a much cooler spot. Jesse McKay, Mara Sade, Zaya Brookside, Jada Parker, Lash Legend, Callie Armstrong, Heather by Elegance, Zaria, Lola Vice, Billy Kay, who I wrote down Billy Kay, and now
Jesse McKay,
she's Jesse McKay. Then who is
Cassie Lee.
Peyton Royce? Okay, so Vic's no help because he just says one member of the inspiration. He hasn't bothered to learn, but he has to. So he doesn't get the same mulligan I get. Um, Kalani Jordan, Kendall Gray, Izzy Dame, and Jordan Grace, all leading to winner Tatum Paxley. And something about the way they shot Tatum early in this match um, actually made me think, is it going to be her? And then I'm like, no, that's stupid. It's not going to
There's
be
a
her. And,
there's
yeah,
a few
and then,
things that made me think it was going to be her tonight.
go ahead. We're there.
So earlier in the night, and you may have missed this, or at least you might have heard it while you were driving, but there was a backstage segment with Lyra Valkyria talking to um, Chase University and Hank and Tank about the tag titles, and then somebody else came in, and I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. Um, but it was the culling because they came in with Tatum, and she and Tatum, going back and forth and whatever, and then they kind of pull her away, or Izzy Dame pulls her away from Tatum, kind of like that overprotective big sister, I guess, uh, some sort of mental abuse type of a stuff, pulls her away, and I'm thinking to myself. Oh, and Izzy says she's going to be the one to win the match, the battle royal. And then Lyra's like, well, what about Tatum? She's in the match too. And Izzy kind of just writes it off. And I didn't think to myself, wait a minute. why the heck is Lyra here tonight? Because she's not on this show. I'm like, and she has been showing up. So I mean, it's not like
Mm-hmm.
super unusual. But that was the first thing that went through my head is, I wonder why she's here tonight, huh? And then later, also I think I feel like not that Tatum like is ever her attire sucks or ever sucked or anything like that. But I feel like her attire tonight, what she was wearing tonight, kind of just she went from 10 to 11, and that also kind of tipped me off that she might be winning. So I was still pleasantly surprised because as much as I love Tatum, I didn't think she was at that point where they'd push her yet to a title shot. But yeah, with those little kind of nuggets sprinkled out throughout the course of the night, I'm like, this might happen, and it was very pleasantly surprised when it did.
Yes, Izzy Dame not looking real happy. Kayfabe, of course, at the goings on there as she thought it was going to be her. Couple other things. Kalani did the spot that I don't love, where her feet didn't touch, but she also isn't touching any of, like, she's on the floor and it just happens to not be her feet. I don't love that. If somebody gets tossed to something and is not hitting the floor, that to me is so much more allowable. And maybe
Yeah.
it should fall under the same thing, but just doing a handstand, very impressive. Like that she can do it. Like it's super cool. But they also had it end with a way that I'm just like, why doesn't somebody just wait on them to get back and then shove them off? And this time that's actually what happened. So that happened. Lola Vice, I will say, she was like final six. And I didn't notice that she was in the match until she got eliminated. She just wasn't given much of a feature. The inspiration got quite a feature. That was kind of fun. Jada Parker, man, I don't know why they don't
Yeah.
commit to her more fully, but Jada and Lash, even though it seemed like an early elimination, it also was the last ones before the commercial. So I think they were just trying to go out on a high note, on an exciting note. And those two are both a big deal. We also got the Lash legend Mara Sade moment where she actually helped her friend right before, of course, somebody ran at her
Jordan.
and Sade was eliminated. Okay. Yeah, and that's about that. Other than Carmen Petrovic, I did not like her look is so far tweaked that I actually just assumed I was looking at one of the TNA women, but it was Carmen.
Oh,
And she went out
sorry,
first.
it was Zarya.
So
It was Zarya. Thank you, real legend in the chat. It was Zarya, not Jordan.
okay. Yeah, I didn't write down who eliminated who because it's enough writing it out shorthand.
I knew it was a
Um,
big beefy woman. I just couldn't remember which one.
I was bummed that Callie went out during the commercial, but Callie is awesome, and I can't wait for her ship to come in.
Yeah.
Uh, I still don't totally get it with Kendall Gray. She's really good in the ring, and she has no personality. They have not attempted to show anymore. Like even with her on the show every week, there's still been no attempt. So that is driving me crazy. But this drove home a couple of things. One, it's kind of fun to see all these women we don't see very often. But two, the roster's a little thin right now in comparison to where it's been in the past. They got plenty of women, but a lot of these were TNA people. A lot of these were they don't get a lot of TV time. Um, yeah, there were some there were some performers here who don't get a ton of time. In the back of my mind, I was also thinking JC Jane was like she limped out of a live show last week. Apparently she's fine because they didn't say anything about her not defending, and she walked out with Fatal Influence, who officially now have Lainey Reed. But apparently she must be fine. So in a week that had news because Ridge Holland will be leaving, And Stevie Turner is leaving, which is so annoying because we've got a not so great GM on NXT, and Stevie was so good as Prime Minister of Evolve, but she is leaving also.
And Wes Lee.
Oh my God, I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, Wes Lee.
What?
I know.
I thought
I
he
know.
was a
They didn't
guarantee.
re-sign him. They
Like,
didn't re-sign him.
oh my gosh. I thought he
Yep.
was a guaranteed call up like 3-4 months ago, and I was like, what are they waiting on? They did the heel
Oh,
thing. They got final form Wesley.
remember this. This was a taped show. That's probably why JC wasn't limping. That's thanks to
Oh right,
JMP Bass in the chat.
yeah, I knew this was a tape show, and then I didn't think about it when it
It
came
slipped
around.
right past me too, so don't feel bad.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so don't know how she's doing. I don't assume that Tatum's just going to go out there and be awarded the championship. Maybe she'll have to get through somebody like Lainey Reed. They'll say she's injured, so this is where they throw Lainey into the deep end. But good question. Yeah. Oh, JMP Bass is actually Joel from Fightful, who's been watching our show for some time. He says this new YouTube naming system is awful. Yeah, it's funny how after years of internet, it just keeps getting worse. So, anything else on that battle royal? Lots of stuff going on, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of stuff going on. One of the things you mentioned was the inspiration. Oh God, it was so great to watch them live. I went to Bound for Glory this weekend, and to watch them and I don't remember what. I'm not a huge TNA fan. I don't remember what the name of the match was. It was essentially their version of the Royal Rumble. And oh my God, the inspiration were just fantastic in that. But they brought the same thing here tonight in this battle royal. I mean, they were not just their attire was like allowed them to stand out in that bright pink, but as always, they're just always talking. They're always the scream from Cassie Lee as she's hanging from Jesse's arms right before she got eliminated and things like that. Just I don't know, next level stuff that like some people might find annoying, but like I think it's so good for their characters. It's awesome. But yeah, a lot of TNA involvement here in the match. Kalani Jordan as well, and they mentioned I think just once on commentary she was the TNA Knockouts champion. But the way that they said it, I thought they were actually talking about inspiration. I thought Vic was talking about the inspiration, and I'm like, they're not the women's tag champions. Like, so it was a little confusing at first, but no, I think this did a lot for both the NXT and the TNA wrestlers. The Tatum, like I said earlier, I think like this is a really cool spot for her. I mean, I'm a big fan of Tatum Paxley. I think she's progressed so much, since her debut. I'm just I don't know. I can't see her winning this match. I'd love to see her win the match. Like I'd be one of the first people to like start cheering. But I also can't see her winning the match unless the Culling or Izzy or something, interferes in this match on behalf of Tatum, or maybe turns on Tatum or something, or Lyra interferes. But then how strong of a champion is Tatum Paxley going to be if that is the case? So I don't know. I don't necessarily see her winning this match, but I still think it should be a good one. JC, I mean, well, we've talked ad nauseum about JC on this podcast, but I think that should be a good match. She's also progressed, and I mean, she's a solid worker in the ring at this point. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to that.
She could maybe have a Hank and Tank type reign, 7 months of not winning any matches and not defending the title ever. That was basically what Hank and Tank did for 7 months. I think they had one defense. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, Zaruka, we had the have my spot thing. So rumors of their demise have been greatly exaggerated. They even, Nate, they got together to do a Maybelline commercial. Like, how bad can things be if they're out there hitting the commercial as NXT apparently has to almost every week now.
It's like the third week in a row, if not more.
Yep.
If not more.
And that all fed into this. I suppose since we're talking about women, let's go Zarya versus Blake Monroe. You don't necessarily want to have Blake in this battle royal and not win it, or you need some big spot for her. So she wasn't in this, but Zarya did double duty, and Sol Ruca did zero duty. Blake Monroe wins with the beauty shot, which was the name of Tyler Breeze's finisher as well. So that's kind of a fun little Easter egg for us.
And ever since, Tyler Breeze's theme song has been stuck in my head.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It's been running here too. So Blake does win this. She was cheating in one way. Sol Ruca came out to help, and she cheated in a second way. She grabbed a hair pick, shoved it in the neck of Zarya, and then hit the beauty shot. And I was going to say defended, but she doesn't have a championship. She won. So Monroe over Zarya, but everything was cool and happy and puppies and rainbows and bubble gum for Zaruka afterwards. So, but apparently this will continue because Blake Monroe did show up during the Battle Royal to cost, like, it wasn't enough to beat Zarya. She also cost Zarya the spot in the Battle Royal when they were down to 7 or whatever, when Zarya left the ring to help out Sol Ruca. So maybe just still sowing the seeds of dissent, because that's who Blake Monroe be, Nate.
That's who Blake Monroe be, indeed. I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like, if, I saw one of my friends standing outside of the ring cheering me on, and then, they got attacked. I mean, I'd probably wonder why I was standing in a ring, but then I might go and help them. So, like, I get it. But at the same time, like, we had that segment between them earlier in the night where Sol's like, this is your chance to shine. I want Zaruka to hold all the gold, not necessarily just me, and, all of that. Yet she then leaves the ring and eliminates herself from the Battle Royal. Hell, why eliminate yourself from the Battle Royal? You can go through the middle rope. You don't have to go over the top rope, but whatever. So I don't know. I thought that was a little cheeky, but whatever.
Loved that spot for a long time, ever since Andre the Giant stepped over the ring to get over the ropes to get away from Damien in Rumble 1980. It's been happening for a long time.
But yeah, so whatever. It is what it is. But the match between Blake Monroe and Zarya, I thought was really good. I thought it kind of showcased some more of Zarya's strengths, or strength, not strengths, her strength. And it also, some more character development for Blake Monroe with, more of the cheating and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty good. Obviously, it's just really leading into the story for later on in the night, and to kind of, in the Battle Royal, and then kind of continuing the feud between, I'm going to say between Blake Monroe and Zarya, but I mean, ultimately, I think we all know it's probably going to be a feud between Sol Ruca and Zarya. They've been playing up that dissension between the two of them for weeks now. And then tonight, they were very biffles, and just almost a little. They laid it on almost a little too thick tonight. So I'm kind of almost expecting that breakup between the two of them sooner rather than later. But I've also said that before, so we'll see. But yeah, I thought this was a good spot for them. And I'm kind of interested to see what other dastardly things Blake Monroe can cook up to get under the skin of these two.
Might as well go to the one other match that I actually saw in its entirety rather than just listen to and got the gist of. Hank and Tank versus Chase U versus The Calling. Today was the day I finally looked into Chase U. They've had 10 members. I mean, they've had way more members than that of people just watching. 10 members of Chase U. It's been going on for 4 years and 1 month, and none of them have ever been promoted to the main roster. 5 of them are gone, and none of them have been promoted to the main roster ever. Ridge Holland was previously on the main roster, but none of them have made it after Chase U. So,
Can you really count JC Jane and Jasmine Nix though?
I'm doing it because the number is more impressive if I do.
Okay.
So I'm going with JC and Jasmine, even though it was kind of a ruse.
Oh wow, wow. Actually, JC, I didn't realize that angle with JC and Chase U went that long. According to Wikipedia.
Well, JC is the one who convinced them to do the calendar, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it was. But I mean, I didn't think that was that long of an angle, and that went from September 5th, 2023 to March 19th, 2024. That's nuts.
Yeah, how oh man, you fight your ass off, get signed to NXT, and you get there and they say, "All right, we're going to put you in Chase U." What is your reaction? Like nobody's ever been promoted to the main roster from Chase U.
They might lose their accreditation.
I know it's not even going to be a real school anymore. Oh well, but anyway, this match happened for a minute, but then OTM showed up and made one of their many returns. They have done this many times and destroyed everybody. So this was an OTM showcase, and they were thankfully shown as able to just destroy all these guys and did so. So I'm glad they're back, and I hope this time it sticks. I don't know if they've been getting hurt or what, but every time it seems like they start something with them, they're gone. So here we go. A match that wasn't quite a match, Nate.
No, I'm glad to see them back. We've had a few people in the chat, over the last handful of months asked about OTM, and neither one of us knew or could find anything on it. Not that I looked that hard. There might have been something out on the internet, but quick Google search didn't bring anything up about an injury or anything like that. At least at the time. So yeah, glad to see them back. The reaction from the crowd when they came out was pretty good. The crowd chanting for OTM. I think it took them a minute to realize who it was. I know it took me a minute actually to realize who they were. But once I did, I was, oh, okay, cool. Like it's Neiman Price. They're back. Great. Super dominant there tonight. Kind of taking out Hank and Tank and Chase University. I don't really have much to say on the match. I mean, it was what it is, what it was for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Perfectly fine, I guess. Wrestling for what it is, but yeah, like you said, I mean, the real story here is OTM's back. And that's really kind of one of the things we need in this tag division right now. We've talked about it, quite a bit on the show. I mean, we've got Chase University, we've got Dark State, and I mean, there's a couple others I'm sure I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, but the men's tag division is pretty is kind of thin right now. So bringing them back into the mix. The Hardys, the NXT champions. But bringing them back into the mix, I think is going to look pretty good for the tag division. I felt like they were the last time that they really were getting pushed before they were taken off TV for whatever reason. We were talking about them potentially being the next tag team champions. We had talked about them dethroning Fraxium. And then they were written off TV, and here we are. So I'm kind of hoping this leads to something big for them. I feel like obviously this wasn't a match that they were in. It was just an attack at the in the middle of a match. But I really liked the intensity that I saw at OTM tonight. Maybe it's because I haven't seen them in a while or whatnot, but I don't know. Something stood out.
I think there was some new double team offense. I'm almost positive there were some spots we haven't seen before.
Yeah, but I really liked what I saw out of them tonight. It mostly just the intensity and the ring presence that they both had tonight. it was kind of like we just came back. It kind of reminds me of almost like Undertaker, like in the Big Evil days. This is my yard. Them coming back and reclaiming their yard, or I guess Roman Reigns before his current run, it became his yard. I don't want to think about that. That was a bad run. Anyway, yeah, there we go. OTM, they're back and they're awesome.
Goodfella says OTM got a look and Bronco Nima is big. I'm pretty sure Lucian Price is big, but it's kind of hard to tell when he's next to Bronco Nima.
Oh yeah.
Because Bronco is so big. And maybe these guys both look normal when they get to the main roster, where everyone's big, but I think that they're big. And he continues, size and presence makes them stand out.
Bronco Nima is 6'6". Now, let's see. Lucian Price is 6'3".
Okay. Yeah. He would tower over me, and I'm taller than the average American male by about 2 inches. So
I'm perfectly average.
There. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done. Just towing the line. Okay.
I could rehash Just Joe.
I can't believe you know who Just Joe is. That was so quick, and you had to have been really young.
I mean, I was probably 10 or something. 10,
that's
11,
more
12.
out there than Horseshoe. Like, Just Joe was just there for a minute. I don't know that he got any matches on TV. He just said Just Joe. And that was his name. Sure, why not? Setting the stage for names like A Kid. Just Joe.
Yes.
Yeah. Or above average Mike. What was his name? Above average Mike Bennett. Is that who did above average? I can't remember anymore. Okay. A match that I did not see much of. Josh Briggs over Matt Cardona. This was your opener. Thought Briggs would probably win this. He is a priority, but he's had to lose to a couple of NXT guys lately. So no great loss to lose to a TNA guy. I assumed that this match was hard hitting, but I can't tell you for sure. I was only listening to it as I was picking up a kid. So I'm going to have to lean on you for this one, Nate.
Yes. Well, you would be right in saying it was hard hitting because it definitely was. I must say, I think the choke slam from Josh Briggs onto Matt Cardona might have been one of the best choke slams that I have seen in recent memory. Like, it was super impactful. And I'm sure most of that was Cardona. Nothing against Briggs, but I'm sure most of that was Cardona. But wow, that looked good. Izzy brought another choke slam out later in the night. Choke slam's like my all-time favorite wrestling move, as maybe cliche as that is, but whatever. So I was really, really happy to see like a super clean choke slam out of that. But anyway, yeah, it was a very hard hitting match, kind of back and forth a little bit. I feel like Briggs probably got more offense in, but I wasn't really paying attention for like 50-50 offense or anything like that. I was really just kind of more watching and enjoying the match. Second time I got to watch Matt Cardona this week. That was kind of fun. I like Matt a little bit more than Kelly does, so there's that.
You like him a lot more than I do, and I don't know how much you like him, but I promise that's true.
Yes. Oh no, I know. But no, yeah, like I said, I think this is pretty good. And I like you said, I think. Well, you said no big deal going over a TNA guy. I think this actually is a little bit more of a bigger deal than that because it is Matt Cardona. It's kind of one of those if you know things. I'm sure. I'm sure most people that watch NXT have probably sort of kind of followed him on the indies, whether it be loosely just reading stuff on Reddit or any of the other thousands of wrestling websites out there. But he's been the indie god. He was the indie wrestler of the year, which sounds weird because he was a former WWE guy, but whatever. He's got a lot of cachet to his name, and yeah, I mean, they might have just come in and told him to lay down, but at the same time, I feel like he probably also wants to kind of help some of the newer talent, somebody like a Josh Briggs. So I think this means a lot more for Josh Briggs than just beating any I was going to say any ordinary TNA guy, maybe the hometown man, who got like the biggest pop of the night, the second biggest pop of the night. Well, I guess third biggest pop of the night because it's the Hardys and the Dudleys, and then Javon Evans. The entire place in a TNA Bound for Glory pay-per-view was chanting NXT, which was so cool. More so than the TNA chants, which was weird. But anyway, how the hell did I start talking about Hometown Man? I don't know. I just went on a tangent. Oh yeah, right. Beating any TNA guy, any ordinary TNA guy, depending on who it is, maybe a mid card guy, that doesn't necessarily mean much. But I feel like beating somebody like Matt Cardona, who is, I mean, he's a main eventer in TNA, he's a main eventer on the Indies. I feel like it does kind of mean a little bit more for Briggs.
Thank you, Joel Pearl, for the assist. It was above average Mike Sanders, not Mike, whatever the hell I said. I think I said Bennett.
You did. He's
Ryan
married to
Solorio
Maria.
Says Kelly don't like his family since he's married to Chelsea Green. LOL. I like Chelsea Green more than I like Matt Cardona.
Oh, wow, that's saying a lot.
Table. I think she brings more to the table because she can't wrestle, but she's really, really fun as a character. She frustrates me more than anything because if she could wrestle, she'd be great. She can't. Okay, so here we go. Somebody else. Yeah, Goodfellas says, I didn't know Cardona's new gimmick was the complete. That's so perfect. His evolved version of his character and applies to his toy business too. I'd like to see another WWE run. Yeah, this seems to be the right gimmick for him. It seems like he's potentially in his final form, as I always like to say about these NXT guys who are definitely going to go to the main roster, like Wes Lee. And I've been saying he was in his final form. Yep, that one's going to be a head scratcher for quite a while. I'm not over that yet, mostly because I just found it.
I'm sorry I had to break that to you on air.
I mean, somebody had to. If you ever want to hear a really weird thing on air, I was podcasting. I was doing NXT 8 years back with Tom. And I was in the middle of talking when I just happened to like scroll on Twitter and find out that that Mandy Rose was fired. So like that episode was totally derailed because it was so
real
big
time.
because of where she had just been in the company that you kind of had to be news, like even though that's not what it was about. So yeah, that was an interesting one, finding that one out on the fly. There was one other match that I didn't get to see much of, which was a real bummer because I really wanted to see El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Lexus King. Wagner won, of course. I knew that already. I can't tell you whether this match was good, but I can tell you that Wagner is good. I know him mostly by reputation and just a little bit by work. So I guess I'll have to this one, I say I'll go back, but there's so much wrestling in the world. I don't know if I'll go back. But Ethan Page showed up afterwards, and we're going to have an Anything Goes match at Halloween Havoc. I don't remember if they branded this with one of the Halloween.
They called it a Day of the Dead match.
Oh, all right. So at least one of them better be wearing the like the paint and everything like that. I love Day of the Dead stuff. I have a Day of the Dead shirt. Never painted myself as such, but I do have the shirt. So there you go. I just think
I feel like, oh man, I feel like Ethan Page is going to do it, but in red and white for Canada.
Oh my gosh, that would be such a troll.
Right.
That does seem like, oh my gosh.
That seems like such an Ethan Page move.
That's perfect. Yeah, and if and NXT, if you got that idea just now, we'll put up Nate's Venmo later, and you can you can help him out a little bit.
my Venmo is a historic McFoley promo.
Oh,
there you go. Send me money.
My email address is something that Goldust did one time that I misheard, because when he put the FU on his cheeks, I thought he was saying forever unchanged. So that's my email address. But
That's
it's
where that
forever,
comes from.
Yes, but it's forever unchained, which I misheard because I was probably drunk in a college dorm somewhere. And yeah, so that's been my email forever. Thank you, Dustin Rhodes, for giving me an email address that I have kind of said under my breath for the last 15 years. Uh, because it is silly. But when it's forever unchanged, I'm required to keep it the same forever, Nate. That's how it works.
You're the one who wrote it.
Ricky Saints opened the show, and Trick Williams got all up in his business. They are going to do
we
a
didn't
thing
actually
later.
talk about the El Hijo Dave Wagner match with
We can do
Lexus
that.
King.
You go ahead. I asked you. I was leaning on you because I didn't get to see it. That's probably
Well,
why
and then you didn't give me a chance to talk.
I was on a roll, apparently. I'm sorry.
You were. It's totally fine. But no, I thought this was a really fun match. This is the first time we got to see Dr. Wagner on NXT TV in a wrestling capacity, anyway. His NXT debut, or his debut, as Vic put it on. I thought it was really funny. Wagner wins the match. Vic says, this is a great in-ring debut for our AAA Latin American champion. And I'm thinking to myself, how did he just have an in-ring debut if he's a champion? But I knew what he meant. I have to pick on Vic when I can. But no,
and you always can, because there's always content to pick it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, yes. But no, like I said, I thought this was a lot of fun. Dr. Wagner kind of getting to show off some of his moves and his stuff for an NXT crowd, for a WWE crowd. I feel like Lexus King was a good opponent for him. I mean, he's solid in the ring. We've talked quite a bit about Lexus King on the show. Definitely a solid worker. Just kind of feel like a little, I don't want to say stagnant, because I don't think they're using him, but there's just something keeping him from getting to that next level. Unless this is the spot he's in, and that's also a perfectly good spot to be in. Collect a paycheck and stare at the lights. Nothing wrong with that.
I think this might be the level. And for me, he's very, very similar to, stick with me here, Baron Corbin, because
okay.
And I compare them both to an old Vikings running back, Leroy Horde, where the line was, if you need 1 yard, he can get you 3. If you need 5 yards, he can get you 3. And that's what I feel about both these guys. Like, no great matches by either guy, but they both got to a place where they were never, ever having a bad match either. So I guess that's my comparison.
I thought you were going to say one was a baron and the other's a king, but
I wasn't even thinking about the royal family of it all. I'll have to think of an earl to work in. So there you go.
But yeah, Ryan in the chat, Lexus King's best match since he turned back heel. I would 100% agree with that. I feel like they had some great chemistry together. Definitely worth a watch. If you're going to go back and watch NXT anyway, certainly go ahead and watch it. But I know you said you might not be able to, or there's just so much wrestling you may not get to it. All good. But obviously this was really more of a setup for the match between he and Ethan Page. He being Wagner, and Ethan Page coming up at Halloween Havoc in a couple weeks. I am wondering why the Latin American Championship is not on the line. And I don't know if that is, a bit of a tell that maybe we may have a dual champion in Dr. Wagner. I still don't think it's time for Page to lose the title, but I just thought it was a little interesting that Wagner's out there challenging him for the North American title. And I guess kind of Ethan came out and granted him a match, but still, but then he didn't put his own title up on the line, which I feel like is a heel move to do, but he's the face and Page is the heel. So little weird, I guess, in the booking. Maybe just doesn't make sense to me and it makes sense to other people. Whatever. But yeah, that said, I'm very much looking forward to the Ethan Page Wagner match. I've only seen Wagner wrestle 3 times, 2 AAA shows, and a couple of their pay-per-views. One was Triple Mania. I forget what the other one was. Here tonight. But what I saw, what I've seen, and again, his reputation. I mean, I knew who he was before I saw him wrestle. I was going to say I wrestled him before I watched him wrestle. So yeah, between that and then Ethan Page, I feel like this is going to be a really good match come Halloween Havoc. I'm gonna kind of lean towards an Ethan Page, retaining the title here, but I still think there might be a small chance that we'll see our first AAA star win WWE Gold. Small chance,
Yeah,
but a chance.
Wagner wrestled you. He carried you to 3 stars. The man can do no wrong. So there you go. Good fella says Lexus King has potential on the main roster, in my opinion. He might stumble onto something so cheesy and over the top, the fans may grab onto him and make him a respected hand. Yeah, when you're that kind of guy, when your job is to mostly job at the end of stuff, when you're only winning as often as The Miz, they can give you championships and have you hook or by crook defend them, and he is somebody who could do that. So Ryan Slorio also added the last time that these two wrestled, it was for Wagner's title. That is perhaps the kayfabe reason why it is now Ethan's title that is up.
I watched that match too, and I forgot about it.
Was that on a Worlds Collide?
I think that might have been Worlds Collide. I don't remember, but I think it might have been Worlds Collide.
Fella adds just now, Ethan is peaking. He should be on the main roster Monday after Raw at the latest. Man, I'm with you. He is ready. He's final form. I think he's been final form for a while.
It's not Worlds Collide.
Get the championship off him and move him forward. And Ryan Slorio says, I think Triple Mania. Okay, so there are too many wrestling shows. I can't remember who was on what.
I don't even remember what I did this morning. So
I can still, to this day, because I did it young, I know the order of entrance for both the 1989 and the 1992 Royal Rumble, and there's a few other Rumbles I can get really, really close, but I have no trouble rattling off those 30 guys in order. But sometimes I don't even know who won the last one. I can currently recall who won the last one, but I can't always remember it anymore, even though the Royal Rumble is my favorite thing in the world. Not my favorite wrestling thing, my favorite thing in the world, Nathan. And I believe I've said that before. A lot, probably. Speed is going to keep happening. She said, after a very successful women's tournament. I don't know how it was very successful when your winner was not able to actually be in a championship match, but she said it was very successful.
It's 2025. You just say what you want, and then people are supposed to believe you.
That's true. Axiom versus Sean Legacy and Zach Wentz versus Jasper Troy. So those are going to be, I mean, those have potential to be pretty good. Wentz versus Troy could be a heck of a car crash. Jasper Troy being in this is a really weird place for him to be, but winning really, really short matches could do wonders for a guy like Jasper Troy. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that once again, the winner is the NXT talent and Jasper Troy wins this. But that is and both of those speed matches, semifinals are next week. So
who is in the match? Who is in the match again? I remember Jasper Troy, and I don't remember the other ones.
Jasper Troy versus Zach Wentz.
That's right.
And Axiom versus Sean Legacy.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. Yeah. So I mean, Jasper Troy makes the most sense. I mean, Sean Legacy's Evolve. I don't see him I don't see them putting a title on him just yet. Well, outside of the Evolve title, because I think wasn't he the Evolve champion or no?
Wait, which one?
Legacy.
No, he's wrestled for it. I think they're keeping it away from him because he could easily be NXT anytime.
Okay.
So far, the only champion's been Jackson Drake. I'm one episode behind right now, but I'm pretty sure the champion is still Jackson Drake.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so I don't see them necessarily giving him Legacy the speed title just yet, unless they're about to call him up. But Jasper Troy, Zach Wentz, TNA guy. As much as I'd like to see it, like Zachary Wentz, I don't necessarily see it happening. Granted, as I said that, I just remembered about all of his past stuff, so there's that. The whole reason he's not in NXT anymore. So yeah, I think Jasper Troy makes the most sense. Taking the belt off of El Grande Americano makes. I mean, I don't. Since all of the promotional shots that they showed tonight with El Grande Americano holding the speed title was Chad Gable and not Ludwig Kaiser. I mean, that should just kind of tell you how long the speed title or the men's speed title has been off TV. And it's so above, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, but it's so above the El Grande Americano character. So they got to take it off of him. I think somebody like Jasper Troy, as much as I don't care for this whole speed thing, and I wish it wasn't on NXT, putting any title on somebody is going to LL. I shouldn't say any title. It's 24/7 existed, but that's, I guess, probably the exception that proves the rule. Maybe, I don't know. But putting a title on somebody generally does help to elevate them if booked correctly. So I think that could be what they're going for. But I think that definitely makes the most sense. I'm curious to see how he performs in a speed match. I mean, he is agile and athletic and obviously very powerful. So I'm kind of wondering how they wind up playing like how he winds up playing it off in the match. Is he going to go so hard he gets winded because he's a bigger guy, and then his opponent takes advantage of that or something like that? I don't know. I doubt it, but certainly curious to see how they portray Jasper Troy in this. And if he is the one that does come out victorious, Sean, like I said, Sean Legacy. I know I did just say like it may not make sense to put it on him, but like the more I think about it, everything I just said about Jasper Troy could also apply to Sean Legacy. Sean Legacy, somebody up and coming, put a title on him, and he's a very quick and speedy person, in high flyer and all of that. So somebody like him to carry the speed brand, that could certainly work too. So yeah, I think it if anything, it'll be one of those two. But my pick, first pick goes to Jasper Troy.
Goodfella says Gable got injured, right? Yes, that is correct.
Yes, he did.
Ryan Florio says there is no proof Ludwig is Americano.
Right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to insinuate anything.
Still real to him, damn it. Goodfella.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Ludwig is class. So much range. He's a keeper. Everybody would keep that guy, except for Tiffany Stratton, apparently. She did not keep that guy. But what are you going to do?
Wait, they broke up?
I think that was a long time ago, wasn't it?
I thought they were still together.
Well, the devil you say. I guess that's possible. I don't pay attention to these things, but I thought that I heard that, and I thought it was correct. And now you're making me worry about everything I've ever believed. Okay, Saints and Williams. We didn't talk about that, even though I started to once. They've got something brewing, and Trick attacked Ricky. So Trick's back in the title picture for NXT. Go ahead.
No, I'm Googling stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
hit me with some hot goss.
I guess you're right, and I just didn't know that.
Okay, so they done. Yeah, Saints and Williams. I'm not excited about this yet, but that could be because most of it happened while I wasn't actually able to look at the screen. So if I should be excited, tell me why.
Um, yeah, I got nothing for you. Because I'm not super excited about it either, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's and because it's only tonight. Like this is the first time I've felt like this, like where I just kind of didn't really care about the NXT title scene. Well, at least with Ricky and and Trick. Because last week I was pretty high on Ricky Starks, and then tonight I can't quite put my finger on it. But I don't know if it's if I don't buy him as champion. I honestly don't know. Um, but I'm not super excited about this feud. Heck, even really, and I hate saying this, but even like Trick Williams, like, yeah, like I've said a million times already, I went to Bound for Glory, Mike Santana, Trick Williams, that was the main event. It was coming up, and I think as much of a proponent as I am for the title going on last, the world title going on last, it should have been the Hardys and the Dudleys that went on last because there was like a mass exodus out of that place after that match, and nobody really stayed for. Well, I think it was like a third, if I read the reports right. It was about a third of people left, and I was one of those third. I was very done with sitting in uncomfortable seats, and I knew Mike Santana. Well, I didn't know, but I had a good feeling Mike Santana was probably going to win. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going home. Um, and I kind of felt like that tonight, with Trick. It's just I'm I don't know if I'm done with the heel Trick Williams, but I don't know. He's good at being a heel, absolutely good at being a heel. But I feel like I know I do. I want the old Trick. I want the face Trick, and I think the fans do too because they're definitely still behind him. Whoop that Trick. Um, the TNA crowd, not so much. TNA crowd was booing the crap out of him when they'd show him on a screen, as they should. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping they can give us a little bit more between these two. Maybe it's also because these two have kind of been feuding back and forth since Ricky kind of showed up in NXT. So it kind of already feels stale before they even start. So I don't know. There we go.
We had a few backstage segments that I have not covered. Javon Evans and Leon Slater were talking. Hardy Boys showed up, talked about it. I'm very old, and it struck me during the scene because I was watching the Hardy Boys as enhancement talents on Raw when they were younger than Slater and Evans are now.
Oh, why did you just say that?
I
Now
should
I
not
feel
have.
old.
Were you watching that in 1993, my friend?
No,
Are
but
you
I mean,
old enough to have done
I've
that?
gone back. I mean, like, I've gone back and watched those, and whew, just yeah,
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. Dark State leave the Hardys lying. That was later on. I'm pretty sure this Hardys thing was just to get their name on the title history, and they'll lose it back to Dark State. And I don't that kind of thing used to bother me when it was just fan service. But God, it's a fan service industry, and I've long since lived with that. Not a big deal. And Anonymous, we'll definitely find out who Anonymous is, right? Caught a video of Kalani Jordan and Jordan Grace having a little talk. So I think that's all I didn't cover, unless I missed some stuff in the first hour, which is
No, I
possible,
think you
Nate,
get it.
because basically writing down notes at red lights, it was great.
I feel like that
So
sounds dangerous.
it's not ideal, but I did not do it while driving. So there you
So
go.
that's better. That's better.
Yep.
Um, no, so I mean the anonymous segment. I had a lot of trouble actually understanding what was said. I actually I want to go back and I meant to go back and actually rewatch that, and I just kind of forgot. Because like they I think were using the microphone that was actually on the camera, and then they're behind a door, And so it was really tough to actually understand him. So I don't even know really what was said because I was trying to just figure out what was being said between the two of them. So I can't really comment much on that. Um, Leon and Javon stuff. I, God, I really those two together, absolutely unbelievable. I would be remiss if I did not just say how incredible their match was at BFG and how bullshit the finish was. It was dark, basically. So great match. They're jumping all over the place, exactly what you would expect. They both get knocked out. They both knock themselves out of the ring, and then the bell rings, and you hear Mackenzie Mitchell say, "The 20-minute time limit has been reached," and the entire place just boos bullshit, like bullshit chants and all that. Santino comes out, he restarts the match, gives them 5 more minutes, and at about the 4 minute and 30 second mark, lights go out, dark state, and match ends in a no contest. Um, oh my God, I was so angry, which they achieved the effect that they wanted, making people angry. So there's that. But these two together are absolutely incredible. Whether they're opponents or whether they're together in a team, I want to see more of the two of them doing things together. And I really hope that both TNA and WWE realize that you put these guys together, you're going to print money. It's gonna happen. These, especially on the main roster, with their charisma, they're gonna. The kids are, especially. I feel like kids are immediately gonna latch onto them and whatnot. Um, so there's that. The Hardys being NXT champs, like I said last week, does not bother me at all. I don't necessarily like to see hot potatoing of the titles, but I am a massive Hardys fan. They're on my TV, so I'm good with that. And they kind of get another notch on their belt with the NXT titles, add a little bit more to their legacy. Totally fine with that. And they're really just there to to put other people over. And I've seen a lot of chatter online about them doing the exact opposite by coming down to NXT and winning the titles. But I mean, you win the titles then to put somebody over. I just wish it wasn't going to be Dark State because I have like Kelly said, most likely Dark State's going to wind up winning the belts in pretty short order here, which is why I mentioned hot potatoing the titles. Um, so yeah, I I don't know. Dark State just isn't doing it for me. Because one week they're doing some comedic stuff, the next week they're kind of back to this dark brooding thing. I feel like they need to kind of pick a lane here. Dark State just I don't know. It's more for me. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but for me, it's just go away heat. I don't want them on my screen. They don't do anything for me. At least as that group. I mean, change it up. Individually, I'm sure they're all fine. Especially, Dion Lennox. We've seen him in singles competition. Didn't have much of a character, but great performer. But yeah, they need to do something with Dark State to either cement them as these just massive, massive heels that are coming in to do exactly what they said, and kind of I forget exactly how they said it, but I'm going to say it the way Vince McMahon said it: inject a poison into NXT. How the NWO failed to do that. I feel like they're kind of doing that with Dark State to a lesser degree. The NWO was a big failure in WWE. Yeah, that's just me. I don't know if other people might feel differently and think that they're doing what they're there to do, but I don't think they are. I feel like they're not connecting with fans. As much as angry as I was that they came out and interrupted the Javon Evans and Leon Slater Leon Slater. I almost said Leon Ruff match. Um, it it was an annoyance. It wasn't like, oh, I want to see these guys get their comeuppance. It was, God damn it, you just ruined a perfectly amazing match. So why, Yeah. Anyway, I think there was one other segment that I didn't speak to, but I've talked long enough, so I'm going to just throw it back to you anyway.
Yeah, I think that they could have benefited a lot from beating the Hardys. And even if they do it now, it would have been so much more effective if they had kept the Hardys name off of that title history. I think that really could have been beneficial for them. So I guess I am going to go back on what I said and say, it would have been better if they had just won, but whatever. Speaking of fan service, Ryan Slorio asks, by the way, did you guys watch Crown Jewel? And if you did, what did you think of Cena versus AJ? This was the Spider-Man No Way Home of wrestling matches because it was loaded with fan service, nods to history, all the things that you would want this match to be, but didn't know that it had the ability to be. It was. Like, I can't probably say this in any new way that anybody hasn't already said, but from the moment I knew it was going to be something really special, from the special John Cena add-on introduction for AJ Styles, where like they said Bullet Club and they talked about TNA and like the nicknames that he had, Face that Runs the Place, all these things, and the ace and the leader of Bullet Club, and they showed AJ's
Reaction.
like his reaction in real time, and I knew then it was probably going to be good, but busting out the RKO and the punt, which didn't connect, but like they were setting it up. I don't know how to say this in any way. End of Days, Sister Abigail.
Was it that match? Because I actually didn't watch Crown Jewel and I didn't see SmackDown either.
Sister Abigail was
the Walls of Jericho. Was that at SmackDown or Crown Jewel?
Oh, now I don't remember. One of these guys will. They remember everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and anything further on that match? Otherwise, I will get to a Kevin Catani email.
No, like I said, I didn't watch it. I always go back and forth on whether I want to watch like Crown Jewel, and obviously they're in Perth this time, but I don't know. It just has a stigma on it for me. Mostly, I just kind of forgot that it was on because it was on so early in the morning, and I just haven't really had a chance to go back and watch it. But I have seen a lot of clips of the match. Obviously, AJ's reaction after Cena, kind of gave the ring announcer the card to kind of for the intro, for that custom intro there. But I also really like because matter of fact, I actually said this to Jobin. I was like, when did AJ start wrestling in trunks? Because like last time I saw him, he was in pants. He's always been in pants in WWE. And I saw a post on, I think it was on Reddit. It was the gear that he wore on the cover of Pro Wrestling Illustrated in 2005, where he and Cena just both happened to be on the cover of. So I mean, there was a lot of fan service in this match, more so than I know because I haven't seen it. But yeah, I definitely should probably go back and watch that match in particular.
Kevin Catani, you can email us at pwtorchnxt@gmail.com. Greetings and salutations, gents. Woo, woo, woo.
You know it.
I never liked Kevin. This is I hope this email finds you well. Pardon my absence last week. I took my family to Disney for the week and was not near a TV. Which Disney? I can get you in free to one of them. That said, am I the only one who was excited to see? I've said too much. I probably should not have said that. I can get me into free.
I was going to say, we'll talk off air.
I don't know. Let's just say you're even further away from the one I could get you. Okay. That said, am I the only one who was excited to see Matt Cardona back in the ring. Crazy to think that he's had that many matches on WWE TV leading up to tonight, and I'd love to see more of him through the end of the year. I wanted to end the email with a stock up, stock down analysis. Stock up, I'm excited to see Tatum Paxley getting a title opportunity. I think she's still a fringe player in the women's division relative to other women. I mean, so is JC Jane. But they wouldn't put her in this position if they didn't think she was ready to fly. What do you think her ceiling is? I think she could be a lovable underdog on the main roster if that's where they go with her. I think it's going to be, I wouldn't give her more than a 50% chance to make the main roster, but if she does, I think she really could forge out a really likable underdog. The thing is, they've got Ren Sinclair, they've got other likable underdogs, and they might just have to choose one. Thea Hale. So stock down, Zarya. I'm ready and wanting her to live into the monster she can be. I think she and Soul are solid together, but I think the comedy bit / lost puppy gimmick is hurting her. I'd much rather see her team up with Jordan Grace, not that she needs a partner, and be a powerhouse partnership. Do you think Zarya's fate is sealed, or is there still time to build her?
Yeah.
For me, Zarya's time is. I'm not going to say like her time is up. I just think that I think the opening to make her a monster is. I think it's closed. Actually, thanks as always. Go VIP and listen to 8YB. Office hours are now over. The Professor, Kevin Picatani, PhD. Nate, go ahead.
So I don't know. I literally just said I do too when you said Zarya. The window might be closed for Zarya, but I do think there might be a very small possibility, either when she turns, well, assuming she's the one that turns on on Sol Ruca, or when she moves to the main roster, and she can probably, well, if she moves to the main roster, because we thought Wes Lee would, and he's gone. Sorry, I had to throw that back at you, Kelly. She could reinvent herself on the main roster and might be perfectly fine. We all know that the odds of that happening historically have been rather slim, but it's possible. But yeah, I outside of those couple things, or them, pulling off some angle where she just kind of becomes this sinister, dastardly heel. I don't know. I feel like mid card is kind of where she's going to be. I mean, she had such a all these cool vignettes and everything building up to her debut. We've talked about it before. She debuted pretty much alongside Julia and Stephanie, so she kind of became the third wheel of those, debuts. I don't know if that's necessarily what hurt her, if it was, other things behind the scenes or whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. I really like Zarya, and I like what I thought the character was going to be, but what it's become. I mean, she was out back talking about Maybelline tonight. Could you see Kane doing that? I mean, well, I guess maybe newer Kane. I'm talking like 98, 99, 2000s Kane. Some of these big, and I don't know, maybe it's the red. I always want to compare her to Kane.
But saw Kane in couples therapy, but the thing is, we saw 10 years of Kane before that.
Right, exactly.
So you can do that afterward.
He had time to build up that cachet with the audience, and Zarya hasn't. So yeah, I don't know. I'm rooting for her. Let's put it that way. I'm in her corner. I am rooting for her. I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And Goodfella just said this in the chat. Zarya's entrance and presentation's awesome. It's so completely off of what her TV character is, and I couldn't have said it better myself. It's like the presentation of Zarya is so friggin' cool, but then she's out back talking to her bestie about makeup, and which in and of itself, that's totally fine, but there's such a discrepancy between the entrance and all of those vignettes and building up this big monster character, and then she's just one of the girls. I don't know. I feel like they could do so much more with that character. I think the ceiling for that character should be higher than I feel like it is right now. Tatum Paxley, we talked about. I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. What I feel like her ceiling is. I again in Tatum Paxley's corner. I really, really like her. Both her in-ring work, as well as this new character. Well, I say new character. She's been doing this for probably over a year at this point. But this, kind of crazed, demented character still plays with dolls. Love it. But in this incarnation of Tatum Paxley, there's definitely a ceiling there. Like I said, I can't, as much as I would love to see her beat JC Jane for the title, I just can't see this version of Tatum Paxley carrying the women's division, so I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see. What else? And yeah, I talked a lot about Matt Cardona. I don't want Kelly to just like jump off the podcast if I continue to talk about him. So
end the podcast and be like, sorry, this concludes the Torch's coverage of NXT for the rest of history.
Yeah. So,
I hate to do that. Okay, so that I believe is our show. Watch me on Care 11 News. Why not? Scroll up, find the thing, and see me talking from where I normally am at my perch as GM of a collector shop, collectible shop. I forgot the name of the thing that I do, the thing that I am in, Nate. I don't know Indeed. How that happened. But these things are what they are. So I think we done reached the end. So I will fizzle out here, and we will be ready next week for Slater versus Stax, Hank and Tank versus Out the Mud, Axiom versus Sean Legacy, and Jasper Troy versus Zachary Wentz. So I'm Kelly Wells. You can find me on Blue Sky at other Kelly Wells, or on Threads, which I really comment on a bunch as spookymilk.games.
Nate Lindberg. You can catch me here or check the things I do out at natelindberg.com. And I'm not going to be the one to leave you with Horseshoe tonight.
He was a creative wrestler. Like, what would happen if I shaved my guy's head, but I put a horseshoe at the top? Because it used to be Horseshoe, right?
All right. As Kelly would say if he wasn't laughing, we'll see you in 7.